the gang's all here. Nerily Meadows from Fox Footy again. She's going to be part of the show for the rest of the year, so I probably don't need to be doing that from now on, but she's here to stay. Lovely to see you again.
People still don't know who I am, so it's okay. It's good.
No,
good to
they do.
introduce.
I know, everybody knows who you are.
We know you are. You're a bloody legend.
Hey, Tigers, Nicky, before we get stuck into the bits and pieces, the Tigers got the win today. Nicky's very happy about it all.
I am indeed.
But you did have a bit of a premonition going into this one.
I had a dream last night that we lost, and Jack Riewoldt bought a combi van and went around Australia trying to find himself.
It wasn't the only one. Yeah, it was layer upon layer this time.
And Trent Cotchin was sitting at a bus stop on his own crying, and Basher Hawley kicked in my front door and tried to punch on with me. But apart from that, it was all up. It was all good.
I reckon those three things, give them 12 months.
A very big show tonight. James Kelly's going to join us. Chris Yarran. There's Tool of the Week. Strawny Bob's up as well. It's been another very, very big week in the world of football. Stuff going on all over.
No doubt about that. Essendon didn't win last night. And was it because their ruckman David Hill decided to go to France to a wedding in the middle of the season? He's away for 2 weeks.
I
mean, it's not his wedding. What is he doing in France?
It's a weird one, isn't it?
He kind of wanted to give it up at the end of last year. They convinced him to stay on, and he sort of said, well, there's this thing that I want to go to, and it kept him fresh. They didn't know that they'd need him all the time because he was a bit of a reserve.
They had to talk him into playing.
They had to talk him into playing, and I think that's okay, isn't it?
There's no excuse for that. Unless there's a Bucks party involved. Then I can see the need to go.
I do not leave the country during the year because I'm bloody loyal.
It's a pretty mature response from the Essendon Footy Club, I reckon. It's man management.
This stuff has been going for a long time, though, to be honest. And I want to take you back. I got some footage from Mexico, Cancun, 1980. Let's have a look at some footage. This is in July. I mean, it's the middle of the season, and KB had 3 weeks over there. His phone wasn't on at all the whole time, and
that's actually the only vision we could show you in this time slot from that particular
He still didn't get a suntan.
That's on the video. Ball guys go wild.
Look, Ziggy Switkowski, I still can't say his name out of all the times that I've come out with it. The report came out this week. This is it. This is all they had to show for it. This is what they released. This is a good 6 pages there that was released. Basically, it all said that it was a massive breakdown in communication. The procedures really let the club down, let the players down. They didn't really know who to answer to, who to go to.
So was it just confusion? Is that what they're saying? We were confused?
Yeah,
There's
but
nothing more insidious than that?
Well, it's a lot worse than that because...
Well, no one knew what they were doing.
They're confused about everything. They didn't know who to go to for what. It was all over the place, which if this was a corporation as opposed to a footy club, people would have lost their jobs
Well, they were
by
in
now.
Cancun for 12 months, yeah. But you know what? Their chairman actually did a press conference and he absolutely nailed it. It was full of confidence after listening to David Evans speak. Check him out.
Well, we have self-reported there was a series of
just feel so confident about it.
Could use a pep talk. Could help.
The report suggested in there that the club was contradicting itself, but I've got to say I didn't see any evidence of that during the week.
Yeah, we've been very transparent, particularly yesterday, around what happened. I wanted to make clear that the full report will stay confidential to the board. What we released yesterday was, I think, very transparent. For legal reasons, we cannot make the whole report public. We will continue to be transparent along the way. For legal reasons, I'm not going to be able to answer every question.
Just a little bit of confusion down there at Essendon. Hey, but it's not the only report. Is the
There's another one, is there?
There's another one. Yeah, they've issued a. He did the right thing by us and gave us a before the game report. A little bit thicker than the Essendon report there, but a couple of interesting.
Any bombshells?
What do you got?
A couple of interesting findings. Andy Mars on Metamucil. That was.
I knew it.
Keeps you regular, don't worry about that.
Another interesting finding here, Hughesy wears a training bra. Wow.
That's sexual harassment.
Got to control your man boobs. And finally, Mick Malloy, controversial finding here, Mick Malloy is definitely not on anti-obesity drugs. Just a few. Don't shoot the messenger.
Why would you say that?
It's just
was Ziggy, mate. It was Ziggy's report.
You made very powerful enemies, Sikowski. Do you know what, though? I have to say, you're a bit confident, but I reckon Hawthorn are about to be embroiled.
Well, you're
in this whole
What are you talking
fiasco.
about?
That's a very big call.
Well, this is coming straight from the horse's mouth. Your own coach has admitted that there's something sus going on at your club, especially with the younger players. Have a listen.
It's really important for your footy club that you keep injecting young players, and that's why we've seen, particularly Geelong and Sydney, being able to maintain their status as premiership contenders for such a long period of time because they've continued to inject really talented young kids.
Not at his club, he's also dropped Geelong and Sydney.
I would have thought he'd just chuck it out there at a press conference.
The AFL's going to be even busier after that comment from Alistair Clarkson, and it's been a busy week for them. They've been split, not right down the middle 50-50, but down the middle in terms of the conversation that's been taking place about the marking adjudications and marking decisions, particularly in light of the Scott Thompson-David Hale decision last week in the Adelaide Hawthorn game. This has really divided the football community. A lot of people are confused about what players can get away with now.
That's a free kick. Is it?
Well, that was paid a free kick. And
that is the end of football as we know it.
Well, I think you're right. A lot of people actually...
The turning point will never come back from.
No, but they've admitted that decision was incorrect.
That's right.
Well,
so that was a bad umpiring decision. That was not the correct interpretation.
I believe it was the correct decision. I believe that was the right decision.
You are off your head.
You are off your nut.
It's got nothing to do with it. I think that was the correct decision. I actually think he pushed him. He went like that and pushed him.
That particular decision doesn't take into account the distance between the two players because, of course, there's a full extension of the arm if you're that far away from me to start with.
Right.
It wasn't a push.
But what was it?
It was a mistake, and they admitted it.
There was a push. This is the whole confusion. The confusion is that prior to that, we were told that you can't push, bump, block and hold in a marking contest. Now,
which rules out everything.
There was a push there. Hughesy's actually right. There was a push, but nobody in their right mind watching footy and who's been watching footy for more than a week thinks that should have been a free kick against Scott Thompson.
I do.
Well, you're mad, mate.
Okay.
Well,
guys,
go home.
What about... Okay, I've got one for you. What about this one? Have a look. Should Imran Khan go for this? Because you have a look. Now, is that a full extension? I want to know, where was the arm? Was it out in front?
That was a case of tunnelling.
Will they get a couple of...
He took a dive.
It didn't seem to be fully extended, the arm.
Well, let's have a listen to Geishan himself. The man, he's the umpire director. That's what he's doing. He's the man in charge of... This is the guy who coaches the umpires. Here he is explaining the actual rule.
Well, the rule is pretty simple, Jared. It's in marking contests you can't push, bump, block or hold.
Surely that's a push.
Not fully extended, Jared. What we're looking for is the arms totally extended out. They probably get to about there. It's probably a show of strength.
But you're telling me a half push is okay, not a full push?
We want to see an extension of the arms.
So a half is no good. It's got to be a full push, and that's... I don't know.
It's ridiculous. The worst thing about this for the fans is you don't know when to abuse the umpires anymore.
And perfect example of that is we've had a look at a few examples throughout the year, and okay, this one is a free. Travis Cloke against Mullet.
It's not a free.
That's given a free kick. The next one, Gunston, Mullet, no free kick.
There was nothing in that.
That's okay. Next one, given a free again. So it's so confusing. It's Reid versus Bellchambers. That was the Anzac Day clash.
Those are the crucial times.
And then once again, this is no free here. So it's so confusing. And like you say, players don't know, coaches don't seem to know, and fans definitely don't know.
Yeah, and people who question the laws of the game get short shrift from Kevin Bartlett, who says that we don't understand the interpretation and that we've just got to go and watch the DVD. The poor umpires don't even know how they're supposed to be interpreting this one, given that collection of marks we've seen from 2013. That's
Kevin
the problem.
spent too long in Mexico.
They're saying that the interpretation has not changed this year, that it's the same that it's always been. Not true. Can't be true.
There's been 100 more free kicks paid going into round 7 than there in marking contests than there were last year. So, of course, it changed. Anyway, we could talk about this forever and we'd ball the pants off everybody involved and get more and more confused. There's a couple of games of football played today. Mickey's Mob got up. They went over to Amy's Stadium, took on Port Adelaide. And right from the word go, without some heavy artillery, they were just far too good, the Tigers.
Yeah, Jack Riewoldt, he's copped a fair bit of criticism lately, but he booted 5. He and Brett Deledio both came back
in the first
after
quarter.
a fair bit of criticism over the last few weeks. Jack Riewoldt now equal in the Coleman race, so he's certainly doing fairly well, is your bloke. They were just all over him from the start. But
very good win.
interesting little hands in the back on that one there
Great
as well.
win.
So a really important win and a bit of an upset because Port Adelaide went into this one as favourites, believe it or not. So a couple of losses in a row.
Some key personnel out.
Trent Cotchin, no Ty Vickery. And at the start of the season, everyone was talking about the importance of Vickery and Riewoldt in the same side. So a couple of huge outs. But they're going to have an even, a bigger out for a longer period of time, it looks, with Chris Knights. He's gone down with a knee where Damien Hardwick believes that it's a torn patella, which can be a 6-month plus injury. So
why say look at that and then say don't look?
That's
one of
not
those ones
good.
you can't take your eyes off. You know you shouldn't be looking at it, but you can't.
Yeah, and it is a huge loss for Richmond, that's for sure. But it's an interesting one with the substitute and the interchange because, of course, Knights comes out of the game, then Tuck hurts his shoulder, and then this becomes a big issue because he now has to come off, go straight into the rooms, but he can't come off, and they're left with 3 on the bench. He comes back on,
nasty.
Redden tries to test it out. It's clearly still hurting.
Shouldn't do that.
For the rest of the game,
No,
he's
he
just
can't.
hampered by this shoulder injury.
I mean,
So,
this-
it's not
This is in
ideal when
play.
you've got
This is actually in play.
I mean, that's incredible that he was doing that.
Yeah, and it's certainly not easy to coach a side when that's happening.
So they'll have a couple fall out next week from that game today. Brisbane hosted the West Coast Eagles, and this was a really tight game for pretty much the duration, and finally, narrowly, the West Coast Eagles converted. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Jonathan Brown, this was very late in the game. Got them within a point, and then West Coast, they certainly avenged for last year's real upset win. Rosa here, a real important moment under pressure. A wonderful goal from the West Coast Eagle back in the side. So, and then this one,
that's not good.
Merritt,
that's
whoops, and Healy just makes it a certainty up at the Gabba. So a really
that's not good.
a bad loss for Michael Voss, who has been under all sorts of pressure. There was another article today basically saying that he's going to be under the pump by round 15, I believe it was.
Wow.
The club's come out and said they're not going to talk about it until the end of the season. That's just the way it
So
is.
someone
But
made it up then, did they?
That's code for we're going to take him out and whack him.
No.
They're saying they're not going to provide a running commentary, which is the it phrase at the moment, running commentary.
Exactly
Good luck
right.
whacking Michael Voss, though. He's a tough man.
Well, it was a massive week in the press, and we found some headlines that you might have missed. I know Mick Malloy has one.
I do have one here, Limo. This is from The Age early in the week. Jared Waite headbutt so good, Bernard Tomic hires him as coach. Fair enough, too, I would have thought.
This one's from today's Herald Sun. Sunday crush expected as Collingwood fans visit mums in prison. So I don't write them, I just read them out.
Don't shoot the messenger. And this one in The Australian, David Hilda missed round 19 for sale at DFO.
Take a break. Taking a break here on before the game. When we come back, there's heaps to get through, so make sure you stick around. James Kelly throws his weight around on the show tonight. Husey cops it from the top dog.
Well, Macca's doesn't go too hard, does he? Little Macca. I'm actually scared now.
And Carlton's Chris Yarrett joins us. Welcome back to the show. It is before the game. Please make welcome our first very special guest for the night from the mighty Geelong Football Club, James Kelly, everybody. Thanks for coming on, mate. Let's get the numbers out of the way to begin with. Eddie had stadium 53 and a bit at the venue last night to see a cracking opening half of football, and then Geelong just do what it does in the second half, and that's kick away.
And the Bombers won plenty of stats in this one. The clearance is 41-22, and they had plenty of shots on goal in the third quarter. At one stage, they went on a run, which was 1 goal, 13 behinds. But the Cats were just wonderful in there. Just classy ball movement, and this has been the trademark of Geelong. The fact that they're just so skillful, and then the kids come in and manage to pick that up, which is the thing that surprises me, James. Are you impressed by how quickly these kids pick up this skill level?
Yeah, they're amazing. You know, we train that sort of ball movement all the time, but those young guys who come in and they slot straight in and is really good. It's really hard to do, and it's a really intense game style, but to the boys' credit, they just pick it up straight away, and it speaks a bit for our development program that we're obviously really happy with also.
Absolutely. And Billy Smets was the guy we just saw kick a goal there. He's from Warrnambool. We're proud of him. He's a good Warrnambool boy. But we weren't proud of him a couple of weeks ago when he nearly got shot by the police. True story, where he and Josh Caddy decided to wear balaclavas to prank a mate, and they got the wrong house, and the police turned up and drew the revolvers on them.
Well, obviously Billy's from Warrnambool, so it's not his fault, really.
Hang on, we're talking up Warrnambool here.
It's a bit of a, you know, I don't know, not great for him, but
nearly getting shot by the police.
Yeah, it was all really innocent in the end. The story
Did they
got
get
blown up a
sanctioned
lot.
by the club?
Yeah.
What did the club say to them? Did they have to stand outside the president's office?
No,
They have to hand in their balaclavas or what?
Yeah, we confiscated those. Yeah, but it was just a bit of a silly boys. Maybe think about it next time. But it was blown up a bit more than what it actually was.
You're the king of the pranks, though. Were you a little bit proud of?
Yeah. I pulled him aside and said, "Well done, fellas." Gave him a gift voucher or something. So.
Hey, can we go back to Billy Smets? He got on the end of one of the most unbelievable passages of play for the year, I reckon. The skill level between Stevie J and Corey Enright here was phenomenal. That handball's a joke, Jimmy. That's a joke. And then this kick's just making a mockery of the game that he can do that. I mean, it looks to me like you're a side at the moment that enjoys a bit of pressure and displaying your skills under pressure. See whether you can produce what you know you can produce under that sort of heat. Is that a fair assumption?
Yeah, it is. I think the older group really enjoy playing in big games, and that rubs off on the younger guys. You know, the build
because
up.
You always win them.
Yeah, well, that's why we enjoy them, really. But,
that's like the Harlem Globetrotters out there. That's this level of skill is just sensational.
Well, that just speaks volumes of the two guys who are involved in that play. But, you know, the lead up to the big games is always a bit different, and that rubs off on the younger guys. So they're really enthusiastic, and hopefully we're, you know, imparting how special it is to them to play in these games.
No one's afraid of taking a risk at Geelong, are they?
No, well, Scotty's really big, and Bomber previously were really big on, you know, they're not going to punish blokes for skill errors. Everyone makes errors during a game, and to spray a player, especially a young player, for making a skill error is, well, I think, not good. It's not going to give a player confidence to play, and that's obviously reflected in the guys going out and doing what they do.
Funny you should talk about errors. Potentially you made one last night up against Brendan Goddard. When you take a look at this, what do you think?
Yeah, well, obviously it's been pumped up a bit over the last 12 hours or so. It'll get looked at, but, you know, my hands are up in the air. I don't know what's going to happen.
So are your feet, though, aren't they?
Yeah.
You've got one supporter, and that's the man who was on the end of that bump. Brendan Goddard got on Twitter, and this is what Brendan said on Twitter. Good hit last night to you. Old-fashioned shirt front. # fair game. # play on. # memory bank. So he's defeated. Is that admissible in court, that tweet there?
Well, if anything happens next time, I might be bringing that up. But, yeah, so it was really good by BJ to send that. And obviously he's still like me, and he enjoys the contact of the game and thinks that sometimes other aspects go a bit far with that stuff. But
it's interesting that that's the tack he's taken, because I'm not sure he felt like that on the night. Have a look at him going down. Now, here he is. Oh! What the? At that point.
Well, that's always funny, those ones. They catch you by surprise, and, yeah, you do get a bit scared sometimes. But I would have done the same thing.
I want to go back to your Twitter conversation with him. He said that, and then you sent this one to him. Thanks, mate. # we'll keep eye on you next time. # nervous. # cracking game. # sore today. Yeah, sore finger from all your hashtags. But then someone else got involved. Another teammate of yours, Stephen Motlop, was obviously watching that conversation, and this is what he said: # get a room. Was there any direct messaging going on between you and...
Yeah, so BJ, if you're watching, we'll meet you later. So.
We were talking a little bit earlier about the marking contests, if you still like to call them contests. Your coach and Nathan Buckley not too happy about it throughout the week. Let's have a listen to what they said first.
I think the explanations are extremely confusing. To say that you can't bump, block, push or hold in a marking contest makes it very difficult to understand how you can make any contact at all.
And right now, from what I gather, a half a push is okay, but a full push isn't acceptable. I don't know what an 80% push, how that's going to be adjudicated.
Now, I wanted to ask you, did Chris go through with you throughout the week? Did he revisit marking contests and say this is what you can do, this is what you can't do?
Well, we've actually had the umpires down a couple of times during the season so far, and we've just had them umpire marking contests with it, and it is really hard, you know, when it's sort of set up at training, you don't give away many free kicks, but the intensity of the game and making those split-second decisions, it does get quite hard, and there's just so much grey in it at the minute. Like Geesh was saying before, if we're looking for the arms extended, but if you don't extend the arms, it's not a free kick, and you know, sometimes in the side's a free kick, but sometimes it's not. It is really confusing, and you know, the umpires look like they're just as confused as we are.
The confusion is the key here. I've got one for you. This is from back in the day. Tell me if this is a full extension. Now, look. To me, it's not a full extension. That to me is play on every day of the week. And quite frankly, we need to stamp out the diving, because that's what's ruining the game right there.
Was that a free kick at the time?
I think it was play.
Having your feet off the ground's not so bad after all.
Exactly.
It's okay if you're unconscious, I think. Yeah.
But you guys, I mean, you've been dominant for 6 years now in this competition, and you keep, as we've said, you turn these young recruits into great footballers. What is your secret at Geelong? What is the secret? Let us in. Tell us why.
Yeah,
we all want to know.
There's no real secret formula. You know, we have a lot of fun with what we do, but we work hard. We've got a really good balance in the way the club's run and the way the playing group is, and our development program we feel is really strong. You know, Matty Knights is down there now with Paul Hood and Max Rook, and our younger guys are just thrown into the AFL system straight away. They don't get much time to, you know, ease into it. They're taught to play the way we want them to play, and straight away they know that play this way, and this is the way that win big games and win finals, you know, and we're just really strong on that as a playing group, and the coaches are over the top of that as well.
Yeah. It's interesting that should be your response, because we asked the same question of Stephen Motlop when he was here. He had a much shorter answer.
You want to know the real truth?
What?
Don't get a SADA in there.
So as a leader of the as a leader of the club, can you confirm or deny that?
Well, it'd be funny if Motts is actually on the list next year.
We're going to take a break. James Kelly's going to stick around. When we come back, Hughesy gives the Western Bulldogs a good old-fashioned rev on the other side of the break.
So you want me to go hard today, don't you?
Don't miss them, mate.
Don't miss anyone?
Don't miss
Go
them.
the whole team.
They're big boys, they can take it.
Ooh, this is going to be full on. All right, here we go. Cooney, you've had a crook knee for how many years now, mate? A few years, yeah? But you still managed to break the Hong Kong Esquilid road sliding championship. You won that one, didn't you? Yeah, the knee didn't hurt you there. Well, Minton, yeah? Rocket E 4 years ago said that you were the dumbest smart player in the league. Have you worked out what he meant by that?
Not at all.
No, you haven't. 4 years later, you're still dumb smart. Oh, where's Dalhouse? Mate, what's going on with the dreads? Are you a footballer or a squeegee due to the lights? Where's Brett Goods? Where is he? Mate, last year you were working at the club. This year you're playing. You know what pressure that puts on Macca? He's got the chick on reception. She's not going to answer phones until she's rookie listed, all right? Mitch Wallace, where are you? Yeah, all right, I should be able to pick you out because you've got bloody dyed blonde hair and you've got a perm. Hey, you're a footballer, you're auditioning to be the next Annie in the musical, all right? Where's Ace? Where's Ace? Big, tall Ace. Ace. Really, Ace? Yeah? Ace, yeah? Bit presumptuous, isn't it? Yeah? You don't play well. Is it Cordy? All right.
I'm trying to bring him back your way, but you might be going too hard.
I'm going too hard. Oh, Macca says I'm going too hard, does he? Little Macca.
Maybe.
I'm actually scared now. What about Liam Jones? Are you following in the footsteps of Barry Hall, are you? Did you punch anyone? No, you didn't. Punch people, mate.
It's good balance.
Mac has freaked me out. Get into it.
Rightfully so, they're putting up a fairly spirited performance against North, the Western Bulldogs, as we speak. James Kelly's our specialist. The strength of Brendan McCartney, you spent a lot of time with him at Geelong. Why will he be a successful coach at this level?
I think because he starts from the bottom and he works his way up. He'll develop the players to the players that they need to be to win games. And Macca did that with all of the great players that have been at Geelong. He was really instrumental in that, and he knows what it looks like and he knows how to do it. So he'll be really good. He'll be really hard on them and give them a bit of love when they need it. But I really hope they go well.
Now, a couple of your teammates had their milestone games last week, Johnson and Enright.
Yeah.
There was a bit of talk about taking babies through the banners. Now, personally, I feel like if your dad is a 200 gamer in an AFL, even if you're a baby, you want that photo to look back on, to be perfectly honest. But what do you think, and what did you think of the controversy and people saying don't do it?
Yeah, well, I think it's great. I really like seeing players take their children through the thing. And
I disagree.
There's nothing.
I think they should be left in the car. That's the only place.
If you leave the window open, it's all right, I guess.
Well, let's not spoil them.
Same. I think it's great.
All right, now you're into it though. There's no doubt you're into it. I've got some vision from one of your milestone games. Let's have a look at you. There's one of your children. There's your other child. Yeah, they're your kids, aren't they?
No, they're not.
It's your 200. What are you doing?
Rent a kid.
Yeah, they're just two randoms.
What do they call you, Pops?
Whose kids are they?
The little boy in my arm is Hudson Egan, who's Matt Egan, coach at Essendon, ex-Geelong player. It's his boy, and the other one was Jagger Mooney. Cam Mooney's little boy. So.
All right, so
okay. Yeah. I thought it was a bit much, though, of you to carry young Hudson into the team song at the end of the game. I thought that was a step too far. Really. The poor young fella. It's just a bit much, And then you get into it as well.
It's disgraceful.
That
Just outrageous.
bloke actually looks like me.
That is you, mate. That is you. I mean, don't break down the fourth wall.
I tell you what,
giving the game up.
If you're going to have a kid out in the ground prior to the game, you should do it the way the Suns did it. Because have a look at this kid. This is my favourite ever. He's having the time of his life here. Look at this little bugger go. Look, he got blocked in. Now he's out for a run. He's reeling him in.
Yeah, he's run out.
He's not done yet. Come on, mate. You got one more in there.
That's great stuff. Hey, in the middle of that bit of vision, we could see.
Look like a little Vossi.
More like a little Daniel Merritt, if you ask me. But in the middle of all that vision, there was a shot at Gary Ablett, who's in the middle of it all. Now, he's got 18 months to go on his contract at the Gold Coast Suns. He's got more than 18 months of footy left in him.
Yes, he
Is
would.
there any chance he could finish his career back at Geelong?
Oh, look, people are talking about it already, and it's always going to get talked about, and probably more so as he gets close to the end. But I think from our point of view, we'd be happy to have him, but it'd be ridiculous for us to think he's going to come back and get paid $1 million at Geelong.
You don't want to pay him. You don't want to pay him, do you?
Yeah, well, we just can't. And it's not something that Geelong does.
You're not taking a pay cut at this stage of your career,
yeah,
let's be honest.
I think as a whole group, we're not about that, not getting a player in for a lot of money, and Gazza would be no different, even though he is Gary Ablett. So, having said that...
What if that wasn't an issue? What if that wasn't an issue? What if he thought
if money wasn't an issue, we'd have no problems with having him back.
So if you didn't have to pay Gary Ablett, you would have him in your team, yeah?
Absolutely.
That's an incredible statement.
I don't think I'm by myself on that one, really. Yeah.
See, we wouldn't down at Richmond. We wouldn't take him for nothing.
Who needs the best player ever, really? So, yeah.
Gary Ablett will be back at Cardinia Park round 10 when you launch the Lights, your first game at home. But the most amazing thing for me is that you guys are 7-0 and you haven't even played at your true home yet.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Well, we're going well, yeah. We're
scary.
Yeah, we really set ourselves through the pre-season that, the first 6 or 7 games are going to be really hard for us, and we worked really hard, and the coaches prepared us really well, and we hit these first few games, and probably at the start of the season we didn't think we were going to be 7-0, but having said that, we'll take it. We're wrapped.
You are 7-0, and it's pretty annoying for the rest of the competition, to be honest. Last night you had 10 players who played less than 50 games in your team. And there are some young guys there. We're struggling, to be honest, to identify them. Can we test you?
Yeah.
With some of your young guys? All right.
Sure.
First one, who's this? Who's that?
That's Colonel Schroeder.
Correct. Jordan Schroeder. What about this one?
Jackson Thurlow.
Yes, correct. This one?
Whitey Fisk.
Right, okay, and this one.
That's Harry Styles from Indecent Obsession.
How old are you? You old man.
One Direction, you goose.
One Direction. No, I'm a huge fan.
Indecent Obsession will be happy with the shout.
David Dixon's punching the air.
Before you go.
Yeah, Mother's Day. Mother's Day tomorrow. What are you doing for your mum on Mother's Day?
Mum's coming down to my house in Geelong and going to cook her a nice lunch.
What are you cooking? What are you cooking?
She wanted burgers. I said,
I might swing by.
Did she want burgers because that's the only thing you can cook, or that was?
No. Well, I said to her, you can choose the menu, have whatever you want. And she said she just want biscuits and cheese, and then burgers, and then a mud cake. So it's easy for me. I like burgers.
Well, good on her. That's the Geelong way, burgers.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what though, was she a hands-on mum as in your junior career, or was she like a mother we're about to see here who was really hands-on? This is from vision from last night. This little girl it's a little moment with Lingy, and it's a great moment. And guess who just creeps in? Look at the little shuffle. Look at the little shuffle. Hang on. I'm on, am I? Yeah, I'm her mother. Should I look at the camera? Should I look at the camera? Am I going to look at the camera? Am I going to? Oh, yeah. Good on you, man.
Happy Mother's Day, of course, to every mum out there. It's a bit premature, of course, but we love the lot of you. James, well played again, and thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks very much.
What a super footy side they are, and he's right in the middle of it all, James Kelly. We're going to take a break here on Before the Game. When we come back, another star of the competition from the Carlton Footy Club, Chrissy Yarran, to join us on the show.
Stronny! Today, Stronny is catching up with Kangaroos legend Drew Petrie at his luxurious house that is here. That looks not finished. But Danger is Stronny's middle name. So let's go in. It's actually Keith. Stronny! Hey, gotta start. I know you probably get this all the time, but do you know who your coach looks like? You know who he looks like?
No.
Daryl Summers. Have you noticed that?
Daryl Summers, I haven't heard that one.
No, he looks like Daryl Summers.
I thought you were going to say he looks like Chris Scott.
No. I like what you've done to the place.
Yeah, needs a bit more work.
A bit more work. A lot of wood. That's a Scandinavian look.
Yeah. Got a natural timber look.
Natural timber, I like
and
that.
No plaster on the walls.
No plaster. Oh, now, I did notice, the one thing about the renovation is that you are putting on a roof. Is that to suck up to your coach? Is it? Because he loves roofs, doesn't he?
He does.
He cracks him if there's not a roof. He cracks him.
It's a retractable roof, this one. So when he comes around and if it starts to rain, I'll close it.
Please tell me this pool is not finished.
No, it's finished. It's where we do our recovery post-games at the moment.
Oh, Kangaroos, what are you doing? Seriously. Who did you barrack for growing up?
Essendon.
Essendon?
The Bombers.
Were you disappointed when you didn't go to Essendon?
Not really. Can't stand them now.
You'll probably be relieved now you went there, hey? The old... in the Tun-Tun?
Yeah, no.
Are you the most famous person to come out of Ballarat?
Far from it.
Who's the most famous?
Steve Monaghetti.
Moners?
Moners.
Yeah. Marathon runner.
Yeah.
If I grew up in Ballarat, I'd probably become a marathon runner as well. Just to get out of town. You know what I mean? Stronny. Good stuff. Classic Stronny alert. Hey, Drew. I'm just going to lay a brick.
All right.
Stronny laying a brick at Drew Petrie's house. Who's the bravest bloke down at the Kangaroos? And when I say bravest, I mean who has showered next to the Magic Door? Who has done that? Who draws that short straw?
Nobody. Whenever Magic's in the shower,
everyone just clears out.
That's good. Out of there.
Thanks for joining us.
No worries.
And good luck to the Kangaroos rest of the year. I think you're going to make the finals.
Thank you.
Top 4. Don't let me down.
Thanks, Tony.
Stronny, please make welcome our next very special guest on the show from the Carlton Footy Club, one of the most exciting players in the competition, Chris Yarran, everybody. No doubt about that.
No doubt.
So, Chris, a couple of weeks ago, you had an absolutely sensational game against West Coast. Your first win of the year, kicked 4 goals, outran Adam Selwood on way too many occasions. The poor bloke hasn't played since.
Just give up, Adam. Save your legs.
With his back injury. But I wanted to ask you that you've obviously moved from defence.
Even Armfield comes from 5 metres.
He literally hasn't played since, has he, Adam Selwood?
He hasn't played since. No, he's missed the last 3 games with a back injury. But you've obviously moved from defence to forward. Did playing in defence teach you a little bit more about being a forward?
Yeah, obviously played my last 2-3 years down in the back half last year, and I don't know what it's like to get taken to different positions that you don't like as a defender. So up forward now, I can certainly take my opponents to positions where I knew as a defender that I didn't want to be taken.
Can you sense them when you do you know who's behind you, and you just know that you've got them?
I always have a little look behind once I've got the footy, but obviously I'm blessed with a lot of leg speed, so I'm always going to try and take my opponents on, that's for sure.
What happens when Betts gets back? What happens? Do you have to go back? I didn't know. Mustn't have had much of a presence last
There's been a big conversation, hasn't there? You, Jeffy, and Eddie playing the same forward 50. There's no, you don't see any issues with that, surely?
No issue at all. As long as we can keep providing that forward 50 tackles that we've done in the last few weeks, I think it'll work throughout the year. But
it's like saying which one of the Beatles shouldn't play.
What about Jarrad Waite? Last week he's played his first game back after a long layoff. He's 4 minutes in. He pushes his head into Tom McDonald. It's hardly a headbutt. I mean, let's be honest.
Nothing.
He gets a week for it, though. I mean, has Jarrad said anything to the group about...
Hardly a headbutt.
Hardly a headbutt.
Have you seen the victim?
Oh,
have a look. This is terrible.
What are you talking about?
That's a compo bid if I've ever seen.
Mickey, I mean, has he sort of apologised to the group or anything?
Yeah, he spoke to the group, 3 days after the game, and apologised to the group because he's in a leadership group, and obviously we don't want our leaders, doing that sort of stuff on game day. So he's very disappointed with himself, but he's also just let the team down, and he knows that. And hopefully he's learned his lesson now. He'll miss 1 week, and hopefully come back next week against Port Adelaide and show him, because he hasn't played footy for so long for the club.
Absolutely.
So it's good to have him out there. Yeah.
He's really important. We know that, and Mickey Malthouse has said he's important. Mickey has also said a lot of other things. He was saying a lot before you guys started winning, and this was one of his press conferences.
It's about process. When you analyse the process, it's talking about the process. It's got to be process, and we'll continue to keep going on the process. It's the process. It'll always be the process.
So when does winning get involved? Was he happier once you started winning, or was it still about the process?
Well, quite clearly, it's about the process. He's been great so far. Mick, he's coming in and given us new structures this year, so it's taken us a little bit to adapt to his game style, but we're starting to get the hang of it now, which is good.
Personally, how have you found him? Because a lot of players love playing under Mick Malthouse.
Yeah, it was a bit daunting when I first met him, but he's been terrific to me, and not only me, but also Jeffy and Eddie and also the whole group. So he's been terrific so far. So hopefully he can continue his coaching career and hopefully get us to a premiership, if not this year, in the years to come. So
Chris, it's a 20th anniversary of the Nicky Winmar statement that he made. That really poignant and telling moment he made at Victoria Park all those years ago when Wayne Ludby took that magnificent photo that we're seeing now. And the Indigenous round this year celebrating the anniversary of this with a whole lot of Indigenous players replicating that statement made by Nicky Winmar. You weren't obviously playing footy back in those days, but how significant, as far as your understanding of it, do you reckon that Winmar moment was?
Yeah, it's I've seen footage of that day, and it's just we stand as one, and hopefully that that stuff that happened back then never happens again. Because it's a great learning curve for the guys coming in underneath, not only myself but for other normal Australians to see that racism is not accepted at this, especially in our game and also this country. So it's wonderful by him to do that sort of stuff. So
absolutely, yeah, great statement being made there. But something that we do hate here on this show are drugs and drugs in sport. So what we're doing this year at Before the Game is we're putting together a clean team. Now these are players who definitely are not on performance-enhancing drugs. This week's nomination, I'd like to welcome in Rowan Bale from the Melbourne Football Club. Let's take a look at him here last week. Here he goes. He runs into this is a certain goal. Certain goal. Surely this is a certain... Oh, dear. Rowan Bale into a back pocket with you, son. Can't risk having you in the forward line.
What are you doing?
Got to
take a break here on Before the Game. Chris Yarran's going to stick around when we come back. More with him and the time-honoured tool of the week. Welcome back to the show. It is Before the Game. Chris Yarran from the mighty Carlton Football Club, our very special guest.
We are so excited to have you here. Well, I am.
Let's ask you Juddy. What about Juddy's contract? What's happened? Has he signed something this week?
What are you talking about?
Well, he's resigned, hasn't he?
Has he?
He's resigned, yeah. So he's
For what? How long?
He's definitely taken a pay cut, that's for sure, I would have thought. So,
Is he passing the hat around now? Is he struggling a bit with the pay cut?
he's given me a fair bit of cash over the last few weeks. So, yeah, he's. I don't know how he's going to live with it because he's pretty much given me half his pay. So.
Have you resigned as well, have you?
I signed last year for 2 years. So
all right.
I hope he's retained enough money to buy himself a pair of pants because there's a look he's sporting that I'm not really into, I have to say. Have a look at him in the background there. Now, watch him as he swans by here for a quick look in the... hello, ladies. Dinner's on. And, who's his friend?
Following in his footsteps.
Did he know Kane Lucas was shadowing it?
I'm not sure. I think he loves walking around with his top off anyway, so he's always doing that, Juddy.
Why wouldn't
It's quite disturbing. And if you look closely, you can tell that Carlton didn't win that game. Now it's time. Now, it's time for our favourite segment here on the show. It's the Home Hardware.
Footy's not as tough as it used to be because of all the cameras and everything, and that's fair enough. But Nick Comber, new guy from Essendon, took it to a new low last night. Look very carefully at the bottom of the screen here of his tough man act. Watch this. Watch this. Oh, yeah, I'm going to get you. Oh, yeah, I'm running off. Now, have another look at this tiny little bitch slap, and then I'll run away. Oh, yeah, you really hurt me. Oh, yeah. That is disgraceful. He's run away. After his tiny little tap. All right, Nick Comber, you're a disgrace. You're the tool of the week. Go where the tradies go and get yourself a Bosch lithium-ion drill driver.
Oh, cop that.
There you go.
We're going to take a break. There's more to come on the other side of this with Chris Yarran. Stick around. To the show, Chris Yarran, our special guest. The game has just finished between the Western Bulldogs and the North Melbourne Footy Club. And this one's going to be talked about a bit because of Matt Jack Daw's performance, I reckon.
Absolutely. 48-point winners, the Kangaroos. Matt Jack Daw, though, kicked 6 goals in his fourth game of AFL, so we're getting a real taste of what he's capable of. He played as a true full forward, 18 disposals, 8 marks, 6 goals, 4 behind. So he could have had even more. The Dogs were in front halfway through the third quarter, but North booted 9 goals to 4 in the final term to get over the line.
Isn't that great for footy, Chris? He's only played 4 games. That's an amazing performance.
Amazing effort by Matt Jack in his fourth game, I think he said. Yep. Obviously he wouldn't have played a lot of footy as a kid growing up, so it's a terrific effort by him.
You're right to play go Monday night? You're right to go?
It's sweet to go Monday. So
a couple of very big games tonight before we get to that. Hawthorn taking on Sydney, Fremantle taking on Collingwood. Late change?
Yeah, Stephen Hill out, so a huge late change. Right. Cam Sutcliffe comes in for the Dockers, so I'm very sad about that.
And the 2 Jacks, Tringove and Watts, out for Melbourne. Let's check their reaction when they found out. This is literally Thursday. We're out. You beauty!
That is it. We are done and dusted.